In this video, I paint this freaky rabbit, but the color scheme is decided by dice. Surely only good things can come of this. If I'm to be honest, I am taking an idea I saw from Goobertown Hobbies. It was such a good one, I wanted to try it for myself. The idea is that rather than choosing a color scheme, I can roll dice to decide on what colors I am going to use. First though, I had to choose a miniature, and luckily there was one I had that I wanted to paint but had no idea how I was going to approach it. So it seemed perfect for this little experiment. I got this crazy looking bunny when I was collecting Malifaux and wanted a giant tortoise for my resurrectionists. The bunny came with him, but I didn't have a use for him in my games. The method I went for in choosing colour was to make a list of 10 colours, one for each side of a 10-sided die. Then, looking at the model itself, I created sections that I wanted to have a unique colour. This took the form of features such as eyes, fur, tongue, clothes, and so on. I then rolled the die for each feature. If I rolled the same colour twice, I re-rolled to get a different result, as I wanted everything to contrast as much as possible. Well, here were the results. Now, I can imagine a pink rabbit with white fur, but I had rolled the reverse. The mouth being green I thought could look cool, but the teeth and claws blue was not an image I had in mind. How I was going to approach each of these colours had me a little baffled, but I decided getting stuck in was the way to go. I quickly decided that the white skin meant he was going to be an undead bunny, and I went about painting him as if he had pallid white skin. I experimented with some different paints, and getting a light blue grey with a purple wash and white highlights gets a pretty cool complexion. As I painted the pink fur over his body, I imagined this undead bunny was a punk rocker in a former life, and dyed his fur the brightest neon pink he could. I played around with a couple of washes, but settled on a red wash and rose highlights. The fur really turned up the contrast on the model, and I was starting to like where this was going. The eyes were pretty easy, as yellow is a perfect "don't get too close cause I'm a little crazy" look. I also felt pretty comfortable doing the mouth green, as I already have a high contrast recipe for green, and it helps further the impression he may have been dead for some time. The blue teeth was tricky to figure out. I decided I wanted them to go from black up to almost white, again going for high contrast. I wasn't really sure how it was going to look, to be honest, but once I had the front two teeth finished, I was happy with the result and continued with the rest of the teeth. When spotting the eyes, I wanted our friend here to be as unsettling as possible, and taking a bit of inspiration from the old Pennywise eyes, I had them looking out in different directions. All that was left was to finish up the clothing and top hat, which had a muted brown and black that honestly was a great contrast to the ultra bright colours that made up the rest of the model. To finish, I just gave the base a nice pool of blood, just in case you didn't find him horrifying enough. This project was a blast. There was something liberating about leaving the colour scheme up to chance. The hard decisions made by the dice of what area was what colour allowed me to focus on making each of those colours work the way I interpreted them. It reminded me of playing Fiasco, the role-playing game that puts you and your friends into a movie by giving you structure through dice. But how the structure is fleshed out and interpreted is all up to the players. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. I really appreciate all the support that I get. And until next time, don't stop painting.